Yeah.
Like, man, is it all worth it? Is my ambition worth it? You know, because sometimes I do question my ambition. Like, because for me, my ambition is to be a respected leader in the community, and I like to keep it vague because then that way I can never achieve it. Because if I say I want to have $1 million, once I get it, what's next? So I like to keep myself vague. Like, I want to be a really well-respected leader in the community, whether that's being a brother, being part of street stops, or being part of the design community. But as long as I'm being people are seeing me as, oh yeah, Bert's doing great things. And also I want to be like a great speaker, not an award-winning speaker, but like just a great speaker, rather, because I might not win any awards, but I'm still a great speaker. And also not the best designer, but a great designer who understands storytelling, who understands this and that. So I don't really like capping myself.
This message is prohibited.
Welcome to another episode of Taboo Talks. I'm here with my awesome guest, Bert Lee, and he's an amazing person in the community. He's doing public speaking, you're doing movements. I don't know if it's therapy or if it's like movement speaking with
body language.
Yeah,
yes,
body
yes.
language. Yeah. So this is Bert. I don't know anything that I missed that you think.
So aside from speaking, I dance too. So I dance a lot, and that's kind of my philosophy and how I do my public speaking. So I like to correlate speaking with dancing and how the two relate. So that's kind of what I focus on when it comes to public speaking. Is I teach people how to be better speakers, but how do you move on stage with a perspective from a dancer, and how do you get them engaged? Because as dancers, we are really engaging. So as speakers, how do we do the same thing, but not too much where it gets distracting?
Yeah. Wait, so you dance?
I do dance. Yeah.
Like where?
You mostly catch me at the clubs.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
So I do a dancing called hip hop. Called popping. It's a version of hip hop.
Oh yeah.
So I've been doing that for 4 years. So I compete statewide. So I do it as a hobby, as a sport. It's one way that I keep myself active.
Yeah.
So I dance. And I used to dance with a crew called Bow Freaks for 4 years. And our style was a lot of like hip hop, tricks, break dancing. We will also do a little bit of popping. So I performed with them, 7 talented dudes, Bow Freaks. We performed statewide, competed for 4 years, and then decided to stop. And then now I'm on my own battling, because I feel like battling is more challenging for me than doing choreography, because I did choreography for 8 years, and I just felt like I wanted to try something new. So I think battling was one way for me to, was very challenging. I was like, oh shoot, it's challenging. I like this. It's kind of like, it's like freestyling. Right at the top of your head.
How is the dancing scene? Okay, so this is how I feel. That I know that there's a lot of dancers out here, but I just don't know where they congregate, you know?
Yeah. That's a good question and a good thought, because when I wanted to get into battling, because a lot of the time when you're a performer, you know all the crews in Minnesota, like Elite Family, Creature Crew, Battle Freaks, Motion Crew, you know all those crews, you know where they go to. But then when you get into the battle realm, you're usually sometimes by yourself. So a hard thing that I had to get used to was like, where are all these dancers happening at? Where are all these battles happening at? So a lot of the time, I would say you look at dance studios that are where a lot of dancers will go to, like Indigenous Roots is a studio, but then Cypherside is inside Indigenous Roots. So Cypherside is owned by a really great dancer, Lou Finisher. So that's where you will meet a lot of the local break dancers, hip hop artists, and popping artists and dancers too. And then there's one in dance studio called House of Dance, Minnesota, and that's where all of the b-boys go, all the hip hop dancers, all the poppers go. So those are the two main schools I know in Minnesota that host a lot of dance battles. And also a dance studio called All Day, where they're like very focused on like popping, which is where I come in, more my kind of specialty. So it's just more looking at your local dance schools, but then it's also kind of like not just your regular local dance school like tap dancing or salsa, because there's also dance styles like that. So you have to look at specific ones that teaches hip hop or break dancing. That's where you will see the scenes of hip hop dancers or dancers that are gathered at.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I think I saw a video of you the other day teaching like a class. And I was like, Was that at Indigenous Roots?
Yeah, that was at Surfside, Indigenous Roots.
Okay.
Yeah. So funny story about that. It's so I was coming from work.
Yeah.
And then it was 5:30, and then my buddy Lou called me. He was like, "Hey Bert, do you want to come sub for my dance class, my hip hop dance class at 6:30?" And I was like, "Hey, I've never taught a class before. Like, and are you sure you want me to do it?" He's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, I've seen you popping. You're pretty good." It's like, okay, so what do I teach? What are the age range? He goes, they're from like 6 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 14, and then for 3 classes. And you come in, you just teach popping. You just substitute because one of my teachers out sick. And then I was like, all right, I'll do my best. So then that's how I kind of so I rushed over because I was at 5, and then the class started at 6:30. So then I rushed over. And then on the way there, I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, what am I going to teach? What am I going to teach? What am I going to teach these kids?
Yeah.
And the kids were already, they were already good at dancing. So that made it a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
So they already understood concepts, counts, and they also already understood certain fundamentals. So that made teaching a little bit better. So the kids actually made it easier for me.
Yeah.
But then that was also a really nice chance for me to see if I'm like a good teacher or if I'm like good at teaching. And,
Right.
It was a fun, very spontaneous experience.
Yeah, because I know from what I saw, I forget what the movie is called, but I know how like it's, when you're like this, and then you it's like something for Jay, right? It's
I think
John-
the movie you might be talking about, maybe it's called the Fresno, where you like hit the other side. But I don't know what movie you're talking about.
But then there's isn't there a follow-up motion with the legs too?
Yeah, the Boogaloo.
Yeah.
You wanna do that one?
Exactly. Yes. I only know that move because
Yeah.
back in Chicago. So I used for everybody listening in is that I used to live in Chicago, and there's a project that I got asked to be on. It never really went through, just because so the artist was a Chinese girl, and like she had more girl dancers, and she wanted a guy portion, like like a just a guy section to dance with the girls, like a partner dance almost, as a part of the music video. And so, but the only thing was that it was just me, the choreographer, and my other friend that I brought with me.
Yeah.
And then it eventually just fell through because they didn't even get enough guys, and there's too many girls for ratio. And so, but the choreographer, he was a pop and lock artist. More he was more of that than like anything else. And so like, he was just like, this is like what this move is called. I was like, oh, like I've seen these moves. I just never knew what they was called. Yeah. So like I not that I learned a lot of terms.
Yeah. So you did dance for a hot minute too?
Yeah. So back in the day when breaking was the hot thing.
Yeah.
Like that was middle school years, man. Like every kid like growing up like was breakdancing. So I did a little bit of breakdancing. I've lost a lot of it throughout the years just because you stop. But along the way, I've picked up different forms. So I've adapted. I'm kind of like just like a hodgepodge of like all these different styles and forms. So like I do a lot of pop. How my phases were is like I got into break, and then you're always doing top rocks and things like that. And then what I kept for sure was not the air swipes and the master swipes. That's about as much as I can do now. But then I went into gliding and sliding, right? And then from there I went into pop and lock. And then from there kind of went and still in this place where I discovered like like modern or like integrating some moves from like ballet and things like that. So it's kind of like, and that's all really inspired, and along the way, you watch like ABDC.
Yeah, all the dance shows.
Yeah, you watch Dance World, World of Dance. So I mean, a lot of my inspirations come from obviously one, the Jabberwockies for show. I think my next biggest inspiration is Kinjas.
Kinjas.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and
I know, like, I follow individual people in Kinjas before they were in Kinjas, and man, like, once they all got together, I was like, this is gonna be dope. This is a dope team.
Yeah, man. So Jabberwockies and Kinjas, man. So I really like them. You know, I don't really like follow Quest or even like
Your periodics.
no, I'm not a periodics guy either.
But you do know them though.
I know about them. I just, you know, D-Trix and all them. I know they're good. They're good. I've seen their solo work and stuff. And, like, it's really nice.
Solo work is good. Individual work is good.
Yeah, but as a group, I never really like. You know, there was a lot of like wow, but there's not a lot of like story.
Right.
So that's more important for me.
Right. Quickly on that note, like Biofreaks, one of our biggest inspirations as a team was Quest Crew.
Oh yeah.
So we drew a lot of inspiration from them. But then as a dancer, I noticed that they do a lot of wow factors, tricks and flip stuff, but there wasn't a lot of dancing. So for me, as a dancer, I want to see dancing choreography. Yeah. All the wows, the backflips, the tricks, the breakdancing, like, it's cool in a routine, but like, where's the vocals at? Where's the choreography? Where are the hits at? So sometimes it's like challenging a team that does tricks and gets the audience riled up, but then there's a crew who's very traditional in choreography and so slick that it's kind of like, for me personally, I would choose the choreography team than someone who does nice tricks and flips.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I think for me personally, I like, you know, fast and crisp movement is really cool if you can get it right. But I like the ebb and flow of like going from like really fast consecutive movements into like, and then you just like go, like, it almost feels like slow-mo in dancing, where you just like and you know, so it goes from fast to slow, and it really depends on like the lyrics for me of the song, and then, you know, the style of the beat too. So it's just kind of like,
I just learned something new while you today. You're a very artsy person. Like, you did theater, you dance a little bit. Like, I swear, I think any Asian men or Hmong men or boy, I feel like if I meet you on the streets or just strangely, and I'll be like, I bet sometime in your lifetime you were a dancer. Either that's breakdancing, that's gliding, you know, that's housing. It's like there's even a small speckle, just an interest in that. Because I know for sure I did. Back in middle school, breakdancing was the thing. It's like, it's how you
it was hot,
had a crew.
man.
It was hot. You know, you were battling, you know, getting all the attention. So I was like, I bet once in your lifetime you were a dancer. Like, you at least touched it in the bass. Slightly. Yeah. So man. And I'm glad you did. And you're an artsy person, like you did that in school. So I kind of did performance arts during my 4 years in college too, and incorporating that into hip hop was very different. I did a lot of contemporary, so that was very different. And, for me, it was very uncomfortable because I wasn't used to the movements. It was very abstracted, but
for sure,
definitely gave me like a different perspective.
I feel that, man. Well, how did you? So you know, we talked about a little bit off screen. You know, like, that you started public speaking. Like, how did that even like start? Because like, you didn't start too long ago.
You know, I didn't start too long ago. I actually started last year, 2019. How I got into it was growing up, English, you know, it's not my first language. Hmong is my first language. And I was really bad at English. Like, I would have a bad start. Even now I stutter. And then every time, I remember specifically when we had to read in front of our classes, you know, in books, and my face would turn red, my ears would turn really red. And even sometimes talking to my teachers who are English speakers, my face would turn red. So then growing up, I was very insecure about my stutter and my English and my enunciations. So what I did was I like would just pick up anything, like books, just to read, to not understand the content, but the English language. And then that definitely throughout high school and college helped me better enunciate words. Even now I'm still struggling. My enunciations is very strong, and I try to get rid of that Asian accent in my stuttering too.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, it definitely does come with practice. And even now, sometimes when I listen to my vlogs, I definitely know that I've improved a lot. Because, you know, if you do it every day and you keep practicing it, then the better you're gonna get. So then, how I got into public speaking was that I remember during college we were supposed to do a workshop about speaking communications class, and I was like, let me just teach people how to public speak, because, you know, I dance a little bit, because I noticed that I go to a lot of like keynote speaking sometimes, and especially graduation ceremony speeches. And when they're speaking, you know, I'll just sit there and I'll stare and I'll like, one, I'll fall asleep or I doze off because, you know, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So then for my method is, how do you do that? It's I'll tell the students like, oh, you got to move around a little bit, like just your hands, or like just take 1-2 steps to your left, to your right. And then all the students in that class, they were like, oh my God, like that was so interesting. Like we never thought of it like that, because we always thought that you just read off your paper and whatnot. And that was my sophomore year. And then I was like very impressed of how they were impressed too. So I was like, I liked it. And I stopped doing it for 2 years. And then I decided to do it again because one of my professor, the faculty at Concordia, she reached out to me. She was like, hey, Bert, your public speaking course, when you told me our class was good, do you think you want to come back? And this time I was ready to done with school. I was like, yeah, I could come back, but I wanted to switch things up.
Wait. So you taught, it was just like one day?
Yeah, it was just like a class presentation. It was a class project.
Okay, yeah.
So I was a sophomore in college, so it was a class project.
Okay.
And then fast forward 3 years later, my faculty, who she invited me to do that, she was like, hey, you did such a great job. Do you think you can come back again now that you're done with school? And I was like, yeah, I come back again. So I came back, but I switched it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And ever since that workshop, all the students, professors were there. They enjoyed it. They learned a lot of new things. Yeah. It's like very basic stuff, but we just don't think about it. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I actually enjoyed teaching people how to public speak, because from there I started creating a curriculum of like, I want to teach people not to be able to speak on stage confidently, but how do you have self-confidence? And it's not targeted towards like a specific margin community, but more like for business owners, or like if you want to sell something, or you just want to be a better speaker or communicator, then all of these can help you. Because I think public speaking is more than just about being on stage, but like we're doing this right now, it's about communication. And what I want to do is I want to help you how to not just utilize your voice, but your body language, your hand gestures, your legs, your movements. Because I'm really big into like social cues and body language, and I love observing people and be like, just reading the room and reading the language.
Yeah. So are you big into like psychology and things like that?
I am big into psychology too.
Okay, I feel like, okay, let's go there.
I love psychology too, and because that correlates a lot with like body language. And I also love talking about like emotional intelligence, or like understanding why we're thinking this certain way. It's very intriguing.
For sure. Yeah, let's head there. Let's head there, because I feel like a lot of what you're doing, or like the work that you're taking on really goes back to like a psychology thing, or maybe not even like, I guess it's like psychology, but not intellectual, but like more of just like instinctual and behavior sciences, you know. So are there any specific like scientific, like psychological reasons that you do the things that you do, that you found along the way, or that you've known from the start, and you just kind of like, oh, like let me, if you know, like if people think like this, then like why don't we try to integrate that?
I know that as by doing a lot of speaking and workshop presenting, I do know that people, we don't have a long attention span. This is not so much psychology, but more like understanding your own individual physical state, and like how you think and process a person. But then that all comes back to me personally too. Like I self-reflect myself a lot. And if I'm like this, I know that either one or two people in that same room is just like me. So I know that that a lot of people don't have. So we don't have like a long attention span. So how do we like disrupt that? Is like we have to add movements. Like even if you're stuck behind the podium, like your hand movements, like the eye is very distracting, because nowadays we have our mobiles, everything's so fast, we're moving so fast. So how you can't really keep one person stationary. So if you're stuck in one spot, you use your arms, you use your vocal variety. And I also know that when it comes to presenting, when you're talking in front of a group and there's no podium in front of you, and as a psychology or as a social cue standpoint, if I don't know if you know this, but if you're at a party and you're talking to a group of people, or just a person at a party, right? And you look at their feet, and if one of their feet is pointing at you and one of their feet is pointing away from you, what do you think that usually means? It means that they want to get out of the situation, or they want to leave. So they're not fully into. So like if my feet are like this, and you're standing right in front of me. So it's like this, but my feet's facing the other way. One of my feet's facing the other way. That means you're not attentive and you want to leave. So that's a nice cue for you to know that, okay, this person wants to lead the conversation. So by understanding those small cues, for a speaker, what I was trying to do is I was trying to make both my toes and my feet point the audience. And it's just kind of like when you're talking, if me you were talking, right, and I have my arms crossed, that means I'm really engaged. I want to listen to you, but my arms aren't crossed and my legs like out this way and I keep looking around, that means I kind of want to leave. So by understanding those kind of social cues individually, how do you do that as a speaker to make everyone engage? It's like, try not to mimic those as much. So have both your feet facing the audience at all times, and then trying to fidget too much, because that can also be a distraction to a lot of viewers and your listeners.
Yeah. No, for sure. Oh man, I just kind of like blanked out there.
Yeah.
My phone, dude. My phone, man. I thought I turned it off.
You're good.
I
think mine's off too.
No, but so on that note, I think a lot of people don't. Oh yeah, this is what I kind of wanted to get into. So you know how like when people think like, oh, great speeches are like great speeches because like they had a great message to deliver and things like that. It's like very intellectually stimulating, or there was a great message, or the way that their tone of voice looked like. And I think, you know, all those aspects are true to a great speech, but there's a lot more involved in it too. And you know, a part of it is the attention span that you talked about. And also just like when you move, it's just kind of like, so in relation to the attention span, there's like a novelty aspect to it, you know. So when there's novelty happening, people are more likely to keep paying attention more. And so, you know, like when you're moving and stuff, like if you're not doing the same movements over and over again, like you kind of like switch it up and things like that. Not only physically but also in your voice, you know, you can keep the people interested, because then they're like, oh, they're not actually thinking like, oh, what's gonna happen next, but like in the back of our minds, we're just like, oh, what is gonna happen next? Like we don't know what is gonna happen next. So like I guess we'll just keep watching and paying attention, you know. And then you know we can do, you know, the human brain is so powerful, it's capable to do like a lot of things at once. I would say limited to like 5 things at once, like in terms of like hearing, smelling, touching, seeing, and things like that. But yeah, dude, I totally feel that like,
so how aware, so since we're on a topic like of talking and speaking, and kind of sliding that into, how aware are you when you are communicating or socializing in a network opportunity, or like just at parties or gatherings? How aware are you on your communication skills?
Like at that moment, or
that moment, and in general when you're just observing or like walking around?
I would say I'm pretty in tune with myself. I can tell when somebody is not interested in talking with me at all. And you know, when I'm not talking with somebody and I'm in a room full of strangers, it really depends on the day if I'm like willing to go talk with somebody. Like, you know, there's some days where I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't want to talk with anybody, and then there's actually some days where I like, oh, I feel scared to talk to people. And so so give or take, you know. But something that I've learned, or something that I've come across on, was the idea of people are most not vulnerable. They're not vulnerable, but like they're most open to like to have conversation at the drink table. So the idea is that like if there's a drink table where people go and grab like water or juice or whatever, right when they turn around is like an instance of a moment where they're looking for somebody to conversate with, or they're looking for their group. And so if you're ever alone and you just want to like talk with somebody, go find people at the drinking table, like looking around, trying to talk with somebody. And you know, I thought about myself, I was like, yo, facts, like, yeah, I've had that moment a lot.
Yeah, I had those moments a lot too. It's funny that you bring that up because whenever I do go to events or social networks and socializing, that's the first thing I look at is like, where's the water? We're gonna get a cup of water.
Yeah.
So I go and get a cup of water. And so another thing too, the next time you go to a gathering or a social event, I want you to pay attention, and to the viewers listening, I encourage you guys to pay attention to how people are holding the cups. I don't know if you heard this method, but imagine I have a cup, right? And if I have the cup in front of my chest like this, right in front of my chest, that means that person is either enclosed, they don't want to be bothered, they don't want to talk to anybody. But if the person has the cup in front of the chest, but right in front of the belly button, that means their chest is open, so that means they're open for conversations. So a lot of the time, even you do yourself, you're at a party, how often you hold your beer? If you hold your beer like this, that means one, you're there by yourself, you don't know a lot of people, and you don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. So you would put the cup in front of your chest because you're kind of enclosed by yourself. Yeah. But then you're right, as soon as you drop it lower, it means you're comfortable in the space. You want to talk to people. If you go and you notice a bunch of friend group talking together and they're face to each other, you look at how they're holding the cups. They're holding all the cups together like this because they don't want to invite anybody else in, because that's their group, so they're doing that. But so what I say too is when you go into a room and you have a cup, don't hold it in front of your chest, but hold it right in front of your belly button, because that's showing that you're open for conversation. You're not blocking anything. Because when we see objects in front of the chest, like a girl holding a purse or you're holding textbooks, we see that as like an enclosed or insecurity, or you're protecting something, or you don't want to be bothered. So the same psychology works too when you're at a party or gathering, you're holding something from your chest. So then pay attention to that, and that's when you're at a drinking station. See how the person's holding the cup, and when you're you sometimes do it too. And also it's also like
thinking back to
like,
see if I like,
because I know for sure I do it too. And the reason I brought up to see how aware are you when you're communicating, because for me, I made it a mission for me to be always aware, because I'm always experimenting on like social cues and like small gestures and stuff. Like when you're talking to somebody on the table, right? You have a cup in front of you, and if that person has for me, I feel like if that person has a cup in front of them, and I have my cup in front of me too, I feel like that's kind of like a barrier between me and that person. So the best way to have like an open conversation is when both cups are removed from the table or put on the side, so that there's nothing there. Like even those small subtle subjects, definitely you can't tell, but really it does make a difference in the conversation.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Presentation means a lot.
Yes.
I don't know about the beer or the cup holding one though.
Okay.
I feel like I leave it. I don't know. I feel comfortable when I leave it up here.
And it does differentiate. It's not all the same.
Yeah. It's not like a one size fits all kind of a deal.
Right.
No,
Like you have to see that, and you read the situation, and you read other cues, and you can tell. It's not just like, oh, cup, he doesn't want to talk. So that's the beauty about like he doesn't want to order. I was next scoop. But that's the beauty of like understanding body language and social cue, is that like it's not just you have to interpret more than one social cue. Like if you see the cup here, then you see the way they're pointing the legs, or you see the body posture, and then you connect the dots, and okay, this person is feeling anxious, or this person just want to talk, and you move on.
But eye contact was what I was gonna mention earlier. You know, when I used to practice it a lot, and I still practice it. I kind of gave up practicing it ever since I stopped like being like a leader and stuff and facilitating, and so like I stopped it. But eye contact is really really powerful and things like that. And sometimes I find it hard to look at other people in the eye when I'm talking to them. It's easier to look when you're not talking. Because, and I think everybody gets it too, because like it's like when you're talking and then they're looking at you, you're looking at them right in the eye. It's just kind of like almost intimidating, and you're like trying to form your thoughts, and then you're like, oh, this guy's looking at me. This dude's looking at me like, oh man, like I can't, like it's too much pressure while I'm trying to think. You know
it's funny. I think eye contact is probably one of the most important, aside from your language and your hands or whatever. But it's one of the most important gesture cues that shows how engaged you are.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't talk a lot, you just looking in the eye just shows, oh my God, this dude is listening. He's engaged. He's interested. Like even I, growing up, was very nervous of making eye contact. You know, I always look away, or I wouldn't know where to look.
Yeah.
Do I look in the forehead? Do I look outside? But for how I do it is I made it also. I didn't. It took me a while to get used to looking people in the eye when I talk to them and when I'm listening. But I think when you're talking, it's okay not to have like eye contact, look around. I think that's natural.
Yeah.
But what I usually do is I will look you in the eye for like maybe 5-10 seconds, and I'll just like look away, maybe your hands, while I look back at you when you're talking.
Yeah.
But I think holding that eye engagement does a couple of things. It shows you're engaged. It shows that you subconsciously, it shows that this person is serious, or like he has a really nice, strong charisma, as in like he's strong individual. He's very confident. So eye contact also makes you look that much more confidence. And for the features, if you're a single dude or lady, eye contact, you look at someone in eye contact, it shows a lot more of their features. Yeah, if you look straight in the eye for a long while, all the features like the nose, the face start coming out. So that's why in dating tips, they always say just do eye contact, because you just look them in the eye, you stare, and then their features start popping out, and you start seeing that more. So that's the reason why eye contact is. I feel like it's a strong asset that not a lot of people utilize and understand about eye contact. Because you just look at, because I do that. I'll look at like people in straight in the eyes, and you would start noticing the features, their nose, their hair, the eyebrows, their bones, cheekbones, the lips.
People start noticing my my hairline.
Yeah,
it's like receding or something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually receding, but I just got a huge ass forehead, man.
I can kind of see it, man. I think I do too.
Dude, no, mine's is huge. Look, everybody looking at the video, mine's is huge as heck. That's why I keep the top long and the side short.
Hey, you gotta own it, you know. Yeah. So since we're on the topic of like forehead and stuff, like how confident are you in yourself to be like, yeah, I got a big forehead, but I'm owning like a boss.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Dude, it never really came to my attention that I had a huge forehead. Like, I never really realized it until, like, I was in college.
Oh, yeah.
I never, like, that was when I was like, man, my hairline is, like, way back. Like, I got a huge forehead. I thought I was just, like, normal. And then, like, it was, like, sophomore year in college that I realized that, like, or I had this epiphany. I was like, oh, I got a huge forehead, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, is my hair, do I have a receding hairline? I don't know. Like, but I think I've had this hairline. It hasn't, I don't really know because I don't actually keep measurements.
Right.
I think that if I stress out about it, it will actually come to fruition.
Right.
I don't want a self-prophecy to happen on me.
Okay.
But I don't think that it's actually receded since, like, I've noticed.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, I own it. The only thing, so there's a thing, right, in terms of like forehead and head and like hairstyles and things like that. So there was like, I've read a couple of articles that like say that like if you have these styles of heads, you should try wearing these styles of hair, like these hairstyles, because more specific hairstyles complement specific types of heads more often than not.
Right. I agree with that.
So for me, and it also depends on how your hair grows. So like for me, my hair grows like once it reaches a length on top, it doesn't like to like stay up. So like when I put like wax or pomade or gel, it could stay up like the way I like it with the volume for like maybe like 15-20 minutes, and then after that it like gravity just does its thing and it goes back down, and so it ends up looking like this again,
Okay.
But my sides, when they grow out, they grow out long, and then like they slouch because of gravity, but then they also keep growing. They don't grow down anymore, they just grow out. Like so I look like a mushroom because the top is flat and my sides are like this. I'm like,
it's funny because I'm looking at your hair right now, and you have really thin hair. Because for me, I have like really thick hair. I can just kind of look at it. And the reason why your hair is growing out like too is because it's the way you're cutting it right now and you're styling it. So
no, dude,
I'm
telling you, like this is really recent. This is really recent styling.
Yeah.
And before this, dude, it was always like mushroom status, dude. Like,
my hair, my sides, they grow out like Wolverine sideburns.
oh yeah.
And it's funny how you were talking about like a different style would fit a particular style of your heads.
Yeah.
And for me, I went through like 3 different hairstyles. And in high school, I had these straight bangs, or my hair would go bangs like this, and I looked ridiculous. And then I transitioned over to the mohawk because tinging was the bomb that time. I went to mohawk. I had like the side cut and then the mohawk representing tinging. And then finally transitioning to college, I looked at all the OGs, like all the dads, right, the Hmong dads, like they all have the same hairstyle. Like I kind of dig it. Especially my dad has a hairstyle where he side comb, and I'm like, I'm kind of digging it, you know. So let me test it out. And I tested it out. At first, it didn't look good on me, but I had to learn how to style it. So now this is like my legitimate hair that I think I'm gonna stick to. That I think that's gonna.
You're gonna grow old with this hairstyle.
I'm gonna grow old with this hairstyle. I'm gonna match no matter what. And I feel like this hairstyle is very natural, and it's it's neutral. You know, you don't look too ridiculous. I think it's an easy process. It's just, you know, I do it so much that sometimes when I go to sleep and I wake up and my hair will still the same. So it's kind of like I woke up looking like this with the hairstyle because I do it so often.
Yeah. I like the so I've noticed for me, it's just that my hair doesn't like to obey what I tell it to do. But the messy hair, like the messy Korean fluffy hairstyle is like kind of like what I think looks best on me. But the thing is that my hair, to get to that length, causes my hair to like go flat again. So like the stuff doesn't make it stay up as long as I would like it to. And then but it's too short, and if I cut it short enough where it can stay up there, then it just doesn't like look right in general. So I'm still trying to find a good happy medium.
So then how was your self-image growing up from high school to college? Because seeing you now, man, I feel like your fashion is great and your confidence is like top notch. I'm feeling a lot of confidence from you, and you seem to be doing good on your own as like networking and then being a professional in your industry. So then how were you always like that in high school, or like did you kind of like go through leaps and challenges to get where you are now? You know?
Yeah, I didn't know that this was an interview for me. No,
well, I mean, I think it's a conversation for both me and you.
Yeah. So I definitely was never like this all the time.
Yeah.
It really, I don't really know how to explain it, because like I feel like I've always been sort of maybe not as confident as I am right now, but always been some sort of type of confident. The closest to where I am right now probably started when I was probably a junior in high school. So that's when I started doing choir. That's when I started doing theater. That's when I started to just like do things in general, like by myself. So, so you know, before then I would be pretty confident, but like with Hmong people, you know, and just like in the community. But at school, I just wouldn't talk to many people, or I'd just be like very like low key, because like I would talk with people, but I'm like very low key. So I didn't have like really a lot of close friends at that time, and even before that time, because you know I went to a school where it was mainly a lot of white people, and you know you grow up with like those stereotypes of like, oh, Asian guys like this. And like, you know, so like for a lot of dudes, at least growing up, that maybe you can also resonate, was that for me, going to a high school for a lot of white girls, I was like, yo, I want to try to get a white girl, but then like I'm like, oh man, these white girls, they don't really like me because I'm Asian, you know, like, you know, like we use the fact that I'm Asian, I can't get a white girl because like, you know, one, you always see the Asian girl with the white guy, but you never see the white girl with the Asian guy.
Yeah.
So that's a depressing thing to just like always notice, not in movies, but in life in general. So I always see that. I rarely ever saw a white girl with an Asian guy. And if that was true, like I was never attracted to that white girl.
Yeah.
So That was one thing. And then, like the stereotypes growing up, just like Asians like that. So, at school I wasn't that confident. It wasn't until I hit college that I kind of like came full blossom,
Right.
and that was because I was like, well, first of all, I made a decision to go to art school.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then the second part of that was that I was in Chicago, which is, 8 hours away from here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long ways away from the family, so I could just do whatever the heck I want.
Mm-hmm.
I could finally live the life that I dreamed
Yeah,
of,
yeah. The
like in the
Asian
big
life.
cities and things
Yeah.
like that. And, I never came home except for like Thanksgiving sometimes, but for sure always Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's when I ever came. I didn't even like come home for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
If I came home for the summer, it would be just like for 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in Chicago at least 11 months times a year.
Okay.
And over there is kind of like where I just like I guess like I've always had it within myself, and it didn't really just come out until I hit college. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think I think yours hit yours pretty early on in high school. So mine's did hit me until like freshman year in college, because throughout my high school year, my fashion and the way I carried myself was this preppy boy who I legitimately like wear super tight skinny jean, and I would wear like flannels and bow ties and vests. I would like dress up.
That's a pretty good style.
Yeah, but I was like, dude, you're in high school. Why are you dressing like that? Well, when I look back at my
guess so.
pictures, I'm just being hard on myself. So I was like that for all 4 years, and then freshman in college, I dressed the same. I was wearing skinny jeans, flannels, bow tie. Not saying that was bad, but for me, I thought like why are you dressing up so much for? Like, who are you trying to look good for?
Yeah.
And then when I went to college campus, college, is really laid back. Everyone was so laid back, and everyone was also like wearing sweatpants. It's so casual. And I was sitting, I was like the oddball out. I was like, damn, like, am I doing too much? I did that for like, after a whole week, I went through a whole entire like wardrobe change. Like, man,
wow.
I think definitely I'm gonna lose a bow tie. I'm gonna lose the flannels. I'm gonna lose the skinny jeans. And I started wearing just like looser clothes, like khaki straight cuts, or like t-shirts, and then like loose flannels. And then I definitely went from very dressed up to down being very casual. And then nowadays more like being lazy. Just now I just want to be comfortable, like I just want to be comfortable with loose clothes that I can move in. But then going back to you said something interesting about because you were being Asian, you can't get the white girl. And I definitely know that mindset, because at one point I do feel like because I'm Asian, I couldn't get this specific opportunity or this specific goal thing. But then I kind of like switched my mindset, which I think it goes back to your individual self, where like it's all in your mentality. Like,
man.
I feel like because I have a friend who he uses I'm Asian so I can't get girls as an excuse, or as his reasons. And then he knows about you, and I was lecturing him like, it's not about you being Asian, it's just about you being not confident in yourself. And then it's just kind of like it always goes back to you, like every guy has an equal opportunity. Like if you're white, you're black, you're Asian, it doesn't matter what race you are. It's all about the confidence and how you carry yourself. And then and it doesn't even have to attract girls or attract people. It's just who do you attract to you, and the people that comes to you is more about how you carry yourself. And the race doesn't really have to do anything. And the way I see it is, if I know that I couldn't get that specific thing because I was Asian, then well, dang, I guess I'll work 10 times harder to get it next time, or work 10 times harder for a different job. Like I always see there's a plan A, B, C, and D. If plan A doesn't work, I do B, I do C. Like I would never use the race card, because I feel like that's kind of like cheating.
It's a cop out.
Like, I guess it just, let's say if she doesn't like me if she doesn't like me, then maybe once because I'm not confident enough, maybe because I'm too short, or maybe because I don't have enough credential. But it's never like it need like racial like Asian, because I feel like that's well, I do want to say that, like, so to your point, it is a cop out if you're really just relying on that sole reason. Like if that's the first reason that comes out of your mouth, then that really is a cop out. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there are barriers to entry with
with anything in our world right now. You know, and I was talking about this with Nelsie too. Was that, you know, like our system is technically built for the white man, and so like, you know, so everything is to really elevate the white man, and that's a basic fact, and hidden truth that people don't really know about. And so like, you know, like, yeah, there are gonna be people out there that don't like your race, but like, if we were to give this a point system, and race is just one of those categories,
Right.
like, race is just one of those categories. You still have to factor in how you smell, how
Yeah.
you look, what your hairstyle is.
Right,
Are you
right.
ashy?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you shower? Is your hair greasy? You got to factor in all these things, and race is just one of those categories. But
Right.
race doesn't make up 50%.
Right. It doesn't seclude you from the
Yes,
crowd too.
exactly. So yes, race plays there's a role in race being there, but you know, for all my Asian brothers out there,
Yeah.
who still feel this way, you can get the white girl, bro. You just gotta, whatever it is, it's not just because you're Asian. It's a lot of reasons. It's
Yeah.
not just the fact that you're Asian. It could be a lot of reasons. I don't know your specific situation, y'all, but like,
Yeah.
listen up. Confidence definitely is a big role. You know, I think that if people roll in relationships and in life with confidence, then you're more likely to succeed in a lot of the endeavors you take. Obviously there's always going to be failures, but
Yeah.
you know, don't let that hold you back. But
So
yeah.
so talk. It's funny that we are talking about race and confidence and stuff, and I think just touching a little bit about on the confidence part. I think for me, how I find my confidence is through the richness of experiences that I've encountered. Like all of my friends that I've encountered in college, and now are my real close friends, and then my family, and then my career, and then all these accomplishments. Those are my confidence, and that's what. So it's kind of like you have to ask yourself, what makes you confident? Is it you? Is it having family? Is it having friends? Is it being a brother? Is it being a great uncle or a great aunt? Like for me, I have more than just one source of confidence. I have many sources of confidence. I have confidence coming from family, friends, my job, my accomplishments, and my passions. Those are all of my confidence. That's why, like, if someone was to bring me down, it would be so much harder, because then you bring me down, you have to take down like 5 other pillars, 10 other pillars that makes me confident. So I think that's something that I like usually always remind myself that, hey, even though today was like a shitty day, you still have friends, families, and your passion that loves you, that you love to do, right? So that's why I get my feet back up. That's how I get myself back on my feet.
Yeah. For sure. So like, on that note, like, so you say like you're drawing this confidence from external sources. Would you say that's a really accurate description of your confidence then? That your confidence comes from external sources rather from internal?
Yeah, I think confidence is like a very vague word, because I said that, but then for my confidence, yeah, it comes from external source, but it also comes from internal. Like it could come externally to me, but it's up to me to how do I interpret that. Like some people could say like, I have confidence coming to me from family and friends, but then I'm only come for that moment. And then my mind says, okay, I'm gonna come for that moment. But then when it comes to me, I have to tell myself then, okay, my family supports me. So how do I build confidence? Okay, I'm gonna graduate 4 years degree. I'm gonna make my family proud. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna find a job. I'm gonna do these stuffs. So it's all about, when it comes to you, is how you interpret that confidence. Because confidence can come from within you or outsource. I'm not excluding the outsource and insource. But it's how, when it comes to you, how do you interpret that to make sure you remain in confidence? Because some people could get confidence from buying a new car, but then after you get a new car, how do you still remain confident? Maybe you clean the car, you go for a car while you keep up the maintenance, you go pick up people, drive your nieces and nephews around, so they see your new car, stuff like that.
Yeah, it is a very vague term. But I think some people would beg to differ. On the other side of your argument, so to speak, they would probably be like, well, then if you're coming from that point of view, then that means like you really don't have any confidence, because if your internal confidence is reliant on your interpretation or perspective of external confidence, then technically, if all of that were to disappear, you actually have zero confidence.
Right, right.
And you know, that's a worst case scenario
Right,
for all
right,
your
right.
pillars that like
Right.
make you who you are.
Yeah, but in it, that's a great point. But then that also, if you think about it too, that also shows how resilient you are. As in, like, let's say that my confidence do sometimes come from outsourced, and when it comes to me,
Yeah.
and I interpret that in a way where it makes me more confident, then that also shows that you know how to self motivate yourself. Because like, if my friends believe in me, then I could just stop it at that. But I'm like, you believe in me? Okay, now I'm gonna get more workshops then. So that means I'm a self initiator. So that's why it goes back to you too. So then your confidence is kind of like you. It's yourself too. So it's not. It's like it goes both ways. It's push and pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I also do want to put out there that like especially in the stuff that you're doing right now, like I'm pretty sure like you talk about intentionality.
Yeah.
So like whatever you do it with intention, and when you do things with intention, you kind of, it gives off the I don't want to say the facade, but like the image of that you're actually confident. So you know, like when you're public speaking and things like that, you know, you talk about movement and things like that, but you know, like when you're talking, you can't just be like doing this all the time. This gets distracting.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it does.
You know, like
Yeah,
this is that blah 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 blah.
You get one. You get one. You get one.
Yeah, and it's like when you're doing, it's like motion with intention is really what I think. You know what you also talk about too, with that, because a little while ago, you know, I was doing a little speech for an app that I was developing. I'm still developing it. It's still in beta, and so, you know, the whole talk was about like inspiration, because the app is really about inspiration. And so, you know, I started off from one end of the room, and by the end of the speech, I was at the other end of the room where the podium was, where I had my whole setup and stuff. So it's just kind of like, you know, like it's just like, I knew that my speech had to last the full length, or I had to walk, you know, my pace varied along the whole arc, the whole journey of that speech. But along the way, you know, and then again, eye contact, doing the hand gestures, you know, and you know, like, so a little bit of it was like, a little bit was it. I'm gonna see if I can remember. I know for sure I said that like, I believe that people are inherently good, and so like when I said that during that time, I like did this, and like I made hits on like the parts that I really wanted to emphasize, and so I don't know if you talk about that too.
Yeah. So actually, in my workshop, I talk about all of that. And for me, I think when I teach people my methods, I'm not teaching you to be like me. I'm teaching you to understand the method, and then you use that and do your own way. If this is you, then go ahead and do that. For me, I use the finger heart. I do this, but it's more like you understand, you do yourself.
Yeah.
But as long as you know that, okay, if I move, that's what's gonna give people attention. Then how's my movement gonna do? Like what's my style?
Yeah.
And then go to the point where you're saying like moving with intentions. So I don't know about you, but for me, I always go first to look at the room, the setup, and analyze it, and to see what space I'm working with. So I'm pre-planning.
Yeah.
And also anytime, even if it's something super small, I'm seeing over my workshop, like I practice in front of a mirror a lot. Like I practice, because as a dancer, that's why I bring dance, because at dancing we rehearse like hours and hours. Same thing with my speech. Even if I'm just gonna do keynote or I'm doing my workshop, I rehearse my body language. Like so I get used to it to the point where it's normal. Because when I first started, I looked like I'm very animated, so it was distracting. But then I was like, okay, if I want to talk about body language, I myself have to be really good at it. So I practice to the point where it's natural now. So I know when to use hand gestures, when to move, and how to. So it's like, even if something small, I will practice, like give myself 2 hours. I'll just practice hand gestures, and I'll practice when should I move when I say this certain word, how should I use my hands, and when do I not use my hands. So all of that. So all my intentions may look natural, but it's all very like calculated and rehearsed in a way where it's natural, where it doesn't look like it's scripted. That's how particular, what's that word? Peculiar I am with my movement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like you're very nitpicky. I forget that word is definitely not, but I'm very nitpicky too when I'm speaking. It's like I rehearse everything. It's kind of like being scripted, but so scripted where it becomes natural, where people can't tell.
Yeah. I am kind of like not the opposite of you.
Right.
Not that I don't put in practice at all.
Right.
Because I do practice. But I mainly focus on what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of the. I don't think I was born with this. I do think I definitely had to work into it.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how I got really well versed in like doing those movements.
Right.
You know, a part of me, so like I don't rehearse my movements that much at all. Like, you know, I do like to get prepared in the room, like go check it out, see like what I can do there. But I think for me, I really practice on like what I'm gonna say, my delivery of like the words that I use,
Right.
versus the actual, like I'm pretty sure you do both, but like for me, I really focus on that, because I think for the movement part, I just like it's like a refresh update like every second, like when I'm in the room it's just like I don't know, I like to and I think that's just a part of the way that I live life too. I don't like to I've come to realize that having a plan is good, and I should stick to having a plan or a vision or a goal, but you know, in terms of like how I get there, it's just kind of like whatever.
It's funny that you're saying that, because I also think that it's good to have a plan, and sometimes it's good to just say screw it, freestyle it. You know, you should let me know the next time you go like present or talk about something. I wanna come see. I just want to come see how like how you do your presentations. I'm always intrigued seeing people present.
Well, you know, we're presenting at the same thing in a month.
Yep.
You know, so the Hmong Men conference that's coming up. For everybody listening, another plug. If you're listening to the Nelsie Yang podcast episode, I plugged it there as well.
So Daniel was doing a workshop there.
So I know what you're doing. So you're doing your body movement and speaking. But for me, I don't think I've told you what I was doing. Have I?
No.
Yeah. So what I'm doing there is in a very like condensed version, I just essentially want to redefine what wealth is for the community. And so what I really want to draw a distinction from is like one, it really goes back to kind of the stuff you're talking about too. It's like it's all about it's really a mindset, and in that I want to draw a distinction from being rich and being wealthy. And the example that I like to use in that world is the example of, you know, you can win the lottery and you could be rich, but that doesn't make you wealthy. You know, because people win the lottery, you know, a lot. You hear so many stories of people winning the lottery and then they go bankrupt, and then they become in a worse situation, in a more worse situation than they were before they even won the lottery. So it's like it would have been better if they had never won, you know. So and that's just kind of like for me what I'm talking about, and so like how do you become wealthy? And wealthy is kind of like a growth mindset. And so that's kind of like the premise of it all. And you know, in that I talk about self-awareness. So like we're really like talking about similar topics.
So I think I probably misheard you, but my workshop for the moment conference is actually not about speaking body language, but it's about it's focusing more on the two worlds of being a Hmong son, understanding our traditional practices and our written rules, and how do we balance that by pursuing our American dream of being a professional career. So that's actually my workshop.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm hosting a workshop this weekend too about body language and public speaking.
Okay.
But from Home Conference, I'm talking about I'll be talking about how to balance Hmong life and in American life.
Okay.
And what does Hmong life mean to you and American life mean to you as a Hmong son?
Okay.
We don't have like, it's just so much in depth things go into it. But in that workshop, I'm just gonna be very high level and help everyone understand like how giving them techniques and resources of how to do it through personal experiences. And for sure your experience is very different, but as long as you understand the resources and what works for you, then that's the goal of my workshop.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I was just like replaying what you were saying. I'm like, oh no, I think we're talking about something different. So mine is definitely not about mindset and wealth.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. But that's sick. It's interesting that you said wealth and being rich and wealthy are different things, because I think that's totally true.
Yeah.
I don't want you to talk too much about it, because I don't want you to spoil anything, but
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if you look at I'm just gonna say this, that if you look into the dictionary, wealthy and rich basically have the same definition,
right?
But I think that in the way that we use it, like colloquially speaking, it means wealth has a deeper meaning to it than rich.
You're right.
Even in stories that we tell, like, why have two words in our language that mean the same thing? Like, that doesn't make sense unless one is meant to be like a deeper version of the first word, or like it has more attached to it, like dislike and hate. Like,
right. Are you also big into philosophy?
Yeah, dude. So big, me too.
Man. Like, I'm so big to philosophy too, because some days I'll just be, so as a creative person, I like to like just sit down and think about a bunch of things, random things. And I was thinking to myself, like, since I love philosophy, and I was talking about my own experiences, like for the word love. Love, if you can dive really deep into it. I'm sure you can come with so many different philosophies to it. Like love can mean so many, it can mean lust, it can be sex, it can mean so many things. But love for you could be friends, family. But love could mean like for the earth, for money or whatnot. So it's like same thing with the word rich and wealthy.
Yeah,
you could be wealthy with family, or you could be rich with money, or you could be rich with confidence, rich with resources, or you could be wealthy with resources and networking, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well,
thinking deep.
Yeah, I mean, on that, I want to go back to that topic of love too. I'm just gonna say this, and like you say whatever you want after that. But like, to me, I think when it boils down to, when you boil water down to when there's no water left, and all you have left are like the minerals or the salt pieces of what that was. To me, that love, when you boil it down to its like core, there's nothing left. I think it always comes down to a choice. Yeah, man.
So you're saying love is a choice?
When you boil it all the way down, it's a choice. In the end, it's always a choice in the end.
I agree, because you can either choose to love or choose not to love. Or is that kind of, because it's kind of like at the end of the day, if you get heartbroken, it was your choice to fall in love and get heartbroken. You could either choice to avoid that or choose to not get that. Kind of like that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, and a lot of people are gonna be like, well, I don't think that's true, because because I've talked to people, it's like, but what if I really love someone, but I don't want to love them, but I just love them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's people who think that way, and well, if that's true, then how can you love someone and then not love them the next day? So like,
it's funny. I say that a lot. It's funny. That's probably my favorite word, my favorite phrase.
What?
It's funny. That's funny that you say that. Like, that's more funny.
Oh, okay.
But love, for me, I'm very open-minded. Like, I think there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah. But to your point, I'm leaning toward a little bit more that love is a choice, because you can choose to love somebody like a partner, like a girlfriend, boyfriend, or you could choose to love somebody as like, oh, you're my best friend, I love you to life, you're my ride or die homie, you're there for me. Or you could just for example, like if you break up with your ex and you guys were really good friends, but you guys broke up on good terms, you can say, oh, I love her, but I don't love her like that. I just love her because I respect her and she's always been there for me and we've been there for each other. So I just love her because, you know, she's a great person. So that's why, so love can also be a choice. Like you could choose to love that person sexually, or you could choose to love that person like a friend, or like however you see that person. So I think when it comes down to it, it could be a choice. It is a choice.
Well, okay, so this, and just to dive even further into that, like, you know, people say that love is a feeling, and I say yes, love is a feeling, and it's a choice. But when you boil down to the end of the road, it's a choice, because like it can start as a feeling, like it's the seed, but when love is a tree, it's a choice. So you know, like when you start, like, you know, when you like someone, it's just kind of like all these factors, like, oh man, like I like her, she's hot, whatever, or like she's got a great mind, or she's funny, or like whatever. Even in saying those things, you decided in your head, like you've made a choice to say she's hot, she's funny, she's got a big brain, and I like that, you know. And in the moment, you know, when people talk about passionate love, you know, like, you know, you would do anything for that person and things like that. What you feel towards that person influences your decisions on how you act with them, and which in the end is still a choice. Like,
right.
It's just that their influence is so big on you that you feel that like it's not really a choice, because like their influence is so big, but it is really a choice in the end. And then at the end, you know, like when people say like, oh, so the love you're talking about, Daniel, is not passionate love. It really is passionate love. It's just that like passionate love doesn't, you know, like when people say, oh, if you're married after 3 years, that passion love, like it kind of disappears. I don't think it disappears at all.
You choose your choice to or not, right?
Well, I don't think it disappears. It's just that passion love is still there. It's just that, like, you know, when you're in a relationship for that long, all the negative things that you never saw in the first place get put into this passion love, right? And so it kind of like dilutes all the positive. Like passion love is just like all positive, you don't see no negative. But like when you're dating someone for that long, or married to someone that long, you can start seeing all these negatives, and then it's your choice to be like, okay, am I gonna let these negatives like change how I feel about them in the positive, like on a day-to-day basis? No, like, you know, like when I was with my, well, we're not together anymore, but when I was with my ex, where it's just like, you know, when you just look at your partner and you're just like, man, like you're like super pretty today, and it's just like random. It's like so totally random, but like, you know, it, you know, like, you can only keep that if you're really choosing to focus on the positive. And if you're choosing to focus on the positive, you're choosing to focus on that heightened love that you want. And, you know, like, even if you break up with someone, you know, and you want to forget, or if the argument of like, hey, like, you know, how can it's not love if you love them one day and you don't love them the next day. And that's why I always say it boils down to a choice, is because like, yeah, like you can choose to stop loving someone, and like that choice is a moment by moment thing, you know, like,
I agree. I totally agree with you. I guess I don't know enough on the other argument point, because I also think that love is a choice, but if I hear the other side of why it wasn't, it has to be kind of like, I don't know enough of it for me to kind of decipher the two. Because right now, I really do think like love is a choice. I think anything we do in life is a choice. Especially because, like you were saying, like if you've been dating for so long, it was a choice to either say, hey, to your partner, hey babe, like I think we are not the same anymore. Like we should rekindle our love again, or we should do so. It's your choice to fall in love again, or is your choice to fall out of love? And it's always your choice. It's always your partner's choice. It's all about that. Also boils down to like communication, the way you guys talk. Unless the other argument goes like, no, love is always going to be there. It's just kind of like the saying, family first, or family is always there, which is like a whole different topic, because I think sometimes that phrase family first or family is always gonna be there is kind of like diluted too. Like it's not
Yeah.
always. It's just like a lot of baggage to that and a lot of good and bad to that too. That phrase.
Yeah.
That phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also to the point of that family and like friends, like love for family, love for friends, and love for people that aren't romantic relationships is I'm also including that in my definition. 'Cause,
Right,
like,
right.
you know, you can hate your brother one day
Yeah.
and then love them the next day. Like,
Right.
how does that work? Like, but
Right.
while you hated them, you still loved them. Like,
right.
that don't make
goes,
no
that's
sense.
what I'm saying. Like, it goes back to what I'm saying. Like,
You know?
you get to choose to like my love for my like best friend, like my dudes, like
Yeah.
is different from my love for my partner right now. It's like it's totally
Right.
different. Like, my love for McDonald's is different from my love for Chinese food or like for Hmong food.
Yeah.
You know, it's like different things.
Yeah.
You get a choice there.
Yeah.
That's probably like a bad example, but yeah.
No, dude, no, I feel you. I feel you. I hope everybody
is-
listening feels
food
the
is
same
life.
way, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's cool. That I didn't know that was your topic for the Hmong Men conference,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. It's about our unwritten rules and practices and how we balance that from our American practices.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So it's gonna be interesting conversations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I like the fact that like you're coming from a place of not methodology or the mechanics of it all, but you're coming from a place of like where the mechanics are enhanced through these ideas or aspects of life. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's you're not coming from a place of like, so long as you follow these steps, you'll be a great,
Right.
you know, versus like if you can find this, then you can do all these steps in your own way.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of
yeah,
a way,
yeah.
you know?
Because I think that my way is never right for anyone's way. But if you
Yeah.
understand my way, that I want you to take it, and how can you make that your own way?
Yeah.
So
And
I think that's the best way to grow individually, because that's how I do a lot. Because a lot of artists, as we see art we like, we don't. It's some people call it stealing or plagiarizing, but I call it taking as an inspiration, and like don't do the whole art by itself, but like you take it as inspiration and take certain points. Like if I saw Picasso's nice, if I saw one of Picasso's painting, he like does some nice shapes. I'll
Yeah.
take that and I'm like, how do I make my design have that kind of shape but different? You know, it's like
Yeah.
being inspired rather than being plagiarizing it.
Well, you know, yeah, at a certain level,
Yeah.
don't plagiarize, don't
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
steal. But
Don't
like
steal, plagiarize. Yes.
but like when you're starting out in life, and this is goes back to another belief I have, like life, the way to learn is through imitation. It's
Right,
through
yeah, yeah, yeah,
stealing.
right.
It's through when you're first starting out, yeah, you have to technically steal or imitate or copy or, you know, manufacture what you see, because that's how you learn. Like, how else can you learn how to walk if you didn't copy other people walking?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, like
Right.
you can't just like learn how to walk by looking people fly,
Right.
looking at people flying. You know, like yeah. So when you're starting out with art and stuff, like you have to copy people. You have to make it like, I mean, you don't have to, but like if you really excel yourself, you kind of have to like get into the details of okay, how do they make this like that, and like I want to make my music kind of sound like their music, so I just need to copy what they're doing first.
Right.
And then,
To understand the structures and fundamentals and how to
yeah. Just like in martial arts, you follow your teacher, but at a certain level, you know, you have to branch off and do your own thing. Otherwise, it becomes like you're, and I think it goes back to a place of like, if you're always stealing and copying, you're not really being authentic or true to yourself. And at the end of the day, or at the end of your life, that's what people care about the most.
Yeah, and then like going back to that too, when we've been imitating everything when we were kids, like in elementary, how to write letters. We had dotted letters, how to write letter A's, especially cursive. So we're always imitating, and eventually, shoot, my handwriting does not look the same now. Like even as an artist, I didn't even know how to draw manga anime characters until I had a manga anime book, and I had to draw over, trace over, and that's how I knew how to draw arms, how to draw the anime faces. So if it wasn't for that book, I probably wouldn't even know like where to start, how to sketch. So it's kind of like in the very beginning stages, I think it's important to learn how to imitate as much as you can, and then branch off on your own and have your own style.
For sure. And that's the part that I like about how you're approaching your philosophy there, because not everybody does it that way. And I think a lot of advertisement and nowadays they really go about it that way. And every aspect of life, especially the online course takers, like if you follow my 7 steps, you can make income $1,000 a month. If you follow these 7 steps in my online course at only $35.99.
And if you don't get it, then you must have messed up a step. Go back and reread it. Seeing courses like that online, and that's definitely something that, because I hate following steps like that. If I don't have the privilege to do whatever I want while knowing your steps, then I'm like, this is not for me. Like, I want to know your steps, but I want to also have the privilege to do whatever I want and make it my own way. So if I feel like that, I hate to push onto somebody to do what I'm doing. So it's like I would be contradicting myself.
That I definitely feel that way about market management too, or MLMs, like network marketing isn't that's I'm pretty sure people listening and know what that is. Network marketing is cool, but they have their own way of going about it, and that's how they teach their downlines. And so the uplines, they teach downlines, and there's no like, and a lot of structures that I've seen, there's not really like, there's a lot of rules put in place that some of them make sense, but a lot of them kind of don't make sense to me. For example, network marketing is definitely, it's a person-to-person thing. Right. So, and I get that, and that's cool, but like, why can't you really tell me about what you're doing if it's not doing any harm, kind of a thing, like it's advised against to like not to, for the downline people to be like, don't like give away the whole spiel to people. And on one side it's kind of like they're not ready for it, or they're gonna think like it's all horse crap, and like and they're just gonna think you're in a scam or a pyramid scheme, and like there all this negativity, and people spread negativity more than they do positivity.
For sure.
And I get that, but like I think it gets to a point where it's just like you're in a network marketing structure, and like it's network marketing in our generation. More and more people realize that it's not a pyramid scheme anymore. It's just another way of conducting business. Just tell me what you do in your network market. I mean, there's like,
do you like the idea of network marketing?
I do like the idea of network marketing because, okay, so I like where they come from. Okay, I don't like their methodologies. That's it. So they come from a place of like, let's grow the individual. Let's make sure that they can be, to your point, confident. Let's make sure that they can be able to speak up and like talk efficiently and present themselves well, and like have a growth mindset, and like make sure and make them realize that they can reach their dreams in life. And that's what network marketing at the core really is about. But I think because humans are so flawed, we get caught up in like the mechanics of like, how do I reach there? And so people get caught up like, they don't stick to like the core qualities. They think like, okay, so this is how you reach those qualities, and then we just get stuck there. And so for a lot of network marketing companies, they get caught up in like, okay, you need to have 10 people under you so you can reach this goal, and once you reach this goal, you can reach that goal, and this goal, and this goal, and once you reach that goal, you can become financially free. And that's all mechanics. That's not like, that's all like hard skills, but like soft skills is way more important. And so that's my issue with that. And there's a lot of rules saying that like, it's kind of like an exclusive club, and I don't like exclusivity as a personal thing. It's just like, if you have knowledge to like go about it, then fine, go about it. And
Mm-hmm.
also, it also depends on your team and your upline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so I've been in network marketing stuff
Mm-hmm.
too, but like sometimes the leadership and the team just doesn't vibe with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like, well,
And then you stop doing it.
yeah, because like I don't like it when, as a personal thing, I don't, I get that there's a filtration system of
Yeah.
books and talks that they think can really help you. Like, what if I really wanted to read a book or like recommend a book to my downline that
Yeah.
isn't like recommended by the company?
Right.
Like, what happens then? Like, am
Yeah.
I, you know, and people would say, well, don't do it because it's not really helping them. Even though I think it would help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just that. You
Yeah.
know?
I've been to a lot of network marketing meetings where my friends would invite me out to go, and I definitely seen it involved because I've been to so many during high school.
Yeah.
And now I've been to a couple because sometimes so personally I wouldn't do it. I don't think I will ever do it because I feel like you being financially stable and getting to that life, it's not, it's like it's mythology, it's all method, but I feel like that is individual for me. That's not something I want in life. I never want to be, I don't, my goal isn't to be financially like the riches and like have all these things and be financially stable. Like, yes, of course it's financially stable, but my end goal is to also be able to pursue my career and do all these stuff. And but the reason I'm saying it too is because some of the network marketing meetings I've gone to is the way when they share it and they pitch it, it doesn't resonate with me, and I'm just sitting there like, damn, that like they're kind of wasting their time on me. And then I will question my friends who would bring me to it, like, well, why are you doing this? And then their answers are usually just like, oh, dude, you gotta make money. This is how you make money so you can live luxuriously, do this. And you know, all I hear all the time is about money. But for me, I don't need money to live luxuriously. My luxuriously is spending time with my friends, my family, my passion, dancing. Like, my value I see thing is so different from what they see. So sometimes kind of like, depending on which company it is, then I've never seen one that resonated with me in that level, but I respect the people who are doing it because it does come back to your hustle, your mindset, your mentality. Like, more power to you. Like, yes, more you're your own boss. But the end result of it, it's not something that I'm seeking at the moment, but for sure not seeking as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure, you know, I know a couple people that watch this are in network marketing, and then one of the companies, I don't know if, okay, so what do you know? I specifically know Amway, and there's the phone, and
yeah, I know that Amway, the phone, and there's also this one called that was this, like, I don't know if it is anymore, but it's where they sell coffee or something.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty old. That was like back in high school though.
Yeah,
but they like coffee something.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting that you say about Amway, because I feel like people in Amway right now would say that, like, oh, like, you just got to come back to another meeting. Like, you know, we don't really talk about like money like that. You know, we do talk about like that's the end goal, like, you know, to spend the time with the family where you can be financially free to like take them on vacations and things like that. And like, yeah, I respect that. I do want to do that too. I just don't think that for me, the reason why I got out, I don't want to go about it that way.
Right.
Because for me, I've never been a big person, at least in Amway's field of expertise. I've never been in a place where I like recommending products at all to people.
Yeah, I suck at doing that.
Yeah, and I've always been in a place where like I like recommending myself to people, like believe in the vision, believe in the dream. And so you can't really give that across with products. You know, you have to kind of like sell the products almost. And then on top of that, after you sell the products, you essentially have to sell the business.
Right.
And you know, people in Amway wouldn't use the word sell. probably introduce
But those are
like,
just still word tactics.
yeah, it's just word tactics. You're essentially just selling
Right.
products
The
and
core that you're
selling the
selling.
business, and you're selling the idea of self development too.
Mhm.
You know, a part of what TabooTalks is, for the folks who don't know, I'm TabooTalks.
Yeah. Maybe get at the beginning.
Yeah, we should put. I'll cut this out. Put it at the beginning. So TabooTalks right now is just a personal brand, but people can listening in can take it and use it for themselves. I don't care because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be riding full force towards this dream of mine,
Yeah.
anyways. So it's a personal brand right now, yes, but I want it to turn into a place where I can curate that livelihood. So I
Yeah.
do want it. I want to take the best aspects of businesses that I've encountered and just like put them all together to get a happy medium. So like businesses like Patreon.
Yep.
You know, I want to take a portion of their model and implement it into what TabooTao will become. I want to take a portion of the network marketing and put it into what TabooTao will become. You know, like where I can empower specifically artists to understand the business side of things. And like yes, the business side, but like in life, you just need these skills in life in general just to make it far. To provide value to the world. And like on top of that, I do want to provide value to the world, and like through the podcast and like through other things that I do, and the projects that I take on. I mainly try to stick within social justice projects or activism projects, or projects that like can speak to the soul. And so, and that's the dream of TabooTalks. So next step for me is to become an agency of sorts, where so what people also don't know is that I program code. So
you're a busy man.
yeah, so I'm working on an app. It's not working right now the way I want it to, but until I get that running, my next step is to get a website in which I can tailor custom design, like the landing screen to however meets the needs of the photographer. And I want to like do it in a creative way. Squarespace and Wix, like that's awesome. That's fine and dandy. You can customize it, but you can only customize so much. And so that's next steps for TabooTalks, on top of like continuing building the brand and things like that.
That's great. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm sensing a lot of both motivation and ambition, and going back to what we're saying, I think those two words are very different. And like you have such big goals and dreams and such a high ambition and motivation, that I think that's what usually drives an individual. It's like if you're lacking one or the other, then you're not gonna go far. Like if you have ambition but you don't have motivation, then you're not gonna go far. You have motivation but you have ambition, then you're gonna give up fast. And the metaphor I like to think of this is that for a gardener, I want my yard to look the best of the best. That's my ambition. My motivation is I had to go buy seeds, pesticides, I have to grow plants. So those little things are my motivation to get to my ambition.
Okay.
Or is it the other way?
Interesting.
I think my motivation, my motivation is to be the best, have the best yard, because that's like I want to get there. That's my motivation. But my ambition is what's gonna fuel me to keep my motivations going. So my ambitions are getting gardening tools, the seeds and plants, because my ambition is gonna keep me going to get my motivation to get there. Because my motivation is to get the best yard, right? So then if I don't have ambitions and I just want the best yard and I don't have ambition, then I'm never gonna get there. I think
I would use different terms. So there's a term that I'm trying to like commercialize. It's the term of a translator.
Okay.
So so in this sense, like I'm gonna be your translator. So like I'm gonna try to say the same thing that you're saying. But in different words. So and so you can say if I'm wrong or whatever, just correct me. So at first I was like I would add the term execution to your list of motivation, ambition, and execution. But then the way when you kept describing it, I was like, maybe execution, motivation for me is the word execution.
Yeah.
So, for example, the ambition is the end goal. Like I have the vision, I have the dream. That's my ambition.
Right. Yeah.
But if you don't have execution, you'll never get to your dream. You'll never get to your things. And so like the execution is along the way. Okay, like, you know, how am I gonna set incremental goals and things like that to get to my ambition?
Right.
And also, if you never execute, you'll never do it.
Yeah, I think that was the right format. I think I swapped it up. But yeah, again, to execution, what you're saying, I think that's similar to motivation, because motivation is kind of like execution, because you need to be motivated to get to your ambition.
Yeah, and so that's what I want to get into next is that like the more you execute, you know, yes, you'll have failures, but the more successes you'll have, which will indefinitely create more motivation. To keep going further, to keep going, you know, like
and those two, it's hard to have, especially when you hit like a failure or a barrier. And I myself sometimes don't always have motivation or always don't have an ambition. Like there are days I just want to give up everything, like shit, I just want to lay in bed and do nothing. You know.
No, for sure. No, that's just I feel that, man. That's like me. Like I have more motivation to do talks like this, but then when I go back and edit this, dog.
Like, man, is it all worth it? Is my ambition worth it? You know, because sometimes I do question my ambition. Like, because for me, my ambition is to be a respected leader in the community, and I like to keep it vague, because then that way I can never achieve it. Because if I say I want to have $1 million, once I get it, what's next? So I like to keep myself vague. Like, I want to be a really well-respected leader in the community, whether that's being a brother, being part of street stops, or being part of the design community. But as long as I'm being people are seeing me as, oh yeah, Bert's doing great things. And also I want to be like a great speaker, not an award-winning speaker, but like just a great speaker, rather, because I might not win any awards, but I'm still a great speaker. And also not the best designer, but a great designer who understands storytelling, who understands this and that. So I don't really like capping myself.
I feel you on the capping yourself part. But in terms of keeping it vague, I'm kind of like not on that same wavelength as you. Like I like to make it super specific. So like, for example, like my dream. So like for TabooThao, like obviously for me, like the way I try to help other people kind of like understand where I'm coming from is that like have a clear vision of where you're going. Like I want you to, whatever your dream is, tell me what stadium you're playing in, how big it is, how many people are at that stadium, you know, what does a crowd sound like? Is it full? Is it empty? Like, you know, what are you saying? What are you dressed in? Like, and then I used so I'm altering it because like I feel like a snap and moment in the future it can be helpful, but I don't think it like encompasses the full story. So like instead of saying like a moment of a vision, so like I like to challenge people to get to a full day. Like what does your full day look like? You know, like tell me how your day looks like in the most ideal situation, and you have to describe that to me so clearly that I like that you can reach that goal. And to your point, like I don't want you to cap yourself at like, you know, like once I, you know, like I'm heading to this deal, I made $1 million and boom, that's the dream. Like that's a small dream. Like it really is a small dream. Like I'm not making $1 million by any means right now.
But when you do $1 million, like $1 to you.
Right. Like I'm really trying to build TabooThao into $1 billion business. You know, but I want to do it in a way where it's not undercutting people. I understand that there's going to be failures and there's going to be barriers to the way I want to do it, but if you believe it, it can happen. That's how anything in life happens, and that's how history is made. The people who believe that they can make a difference made a difference. You know, or people who had a strong why. And so yeah, I'm on your wavelength.
Right.
I wouldn't like to keep it vague.
Right.
For me, and I don't know if for you, I feel like you have a vision of where you want to go, but you say vague, but like I feel like you have specificities in that.
Right. I think it's exactly that. It's like sometimes, because I know what I want, but sometimes it's hard to say it.
Yeah.
So the best way to say is vague, but then we can go deeper into it if it just takes more conversation to get into it.
Yeah.
Like it's like you said, like I know I said vague, but in my head I know what I want and I know how to get there and I know what I'm doing. But the best way to describe all that thought is just vague, because I don't like capping. Like you said, I don't want to cap it. And also talking to individuals like yourself, like hearing your perspective makes me feel like, oh yeah, like I didn't think of that way, or that's a great way of wording it, and that's a great way of explaining it. So I think, exactly, like it's in my head, but I just don't want to say it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying though. That like so recently I just had a meeting with somebody because I was telling them that on the podcast I try to play the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't really like that term because like it comes with a lot of negative connotation. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but like I don't know how else to like explain it.
Right.
And then they proposed to me like, you should just call yourself a facilitator. And I was like, oh wow, I do call myself a facilitator, but I don't call myself that unless I'm in a specific workspace or a specific environment where I'm curating like safe and brave spaces for anybody that's coming in. So that's when I really call myself a facilitator. Because I haven't really called myself a facilitator like that outside of that world.
Right, because it sounds weird. It
doesn't sound weird,
but it's not like it. If you just say now, like it wouldn't fit.
Yeah, like I'd never connected it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you mean for sure.
Yeah, and so that's kind of gives back to your point of like just saying like it's you make it vague, but like it's not really vague. It's just the best way you can explain it right now.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then do you know how to keep yourself in check in all those? Because for me, how I keep myself in check, or how I even got myself here, is like I will write all my thoughts down on one piece of paper, and what I'm doing right now, my values, whatever I'm doing, and I'll cut it down to 5-10 things that are really meaningful to me, and I connect those to my values. And then every time I feel stuck, or every year I go back and reflect, did I do this, did I do that, did I accomplish this? And most of the time I have, and I always do. So that's how I keep myself in check, to make sure I'm always growing. So I do that a lot. I reflect like every year. So what's your method of self-reflecting or keeping yourself in check and make sure you're not giving up on that motivation and ambition?
I feel like you listen to like Brendan Bouchard or something.
I don't know who that is.
Like, dude, you should listen to him. Dude, he does what you do, but on a hyper level.
Okay. I see Brendan Bouchard.
Yeah, so Brandon Bouchard, so Brandon, and then Bouchard, Buchard.
Okay.
And what he does is similar to what you do, but so he has the year-long goals, but then he does weekly. He does it weekly as well. So he's always crazy. So he spends every Sunday, 3 hours every Sunday, thinking back on his week. Okay, did I get this done? Did I get my goal done? Did I do that? Did I reach this? And like always changing it and things like that. Okay, what does my schedule look like the next week? And how can I improve myself every week?
Damn,
and so he does that every week. And so he on his thing, he said he's been doing it for like since he was like 20. And he's like, I think he's like 40 or something, at least in that age range. And I'm just like, dang, you've been doing that for 20 years. I'm bad with writing things down.
I encourage you to. Right?
I know.
It feels so good.
I know.
It feels way better than typing. Trust me. Big difference.
So yeah, and Brandon says the same thing too. And I'm just like, man, I should. So that's one thing I need to get into. I'm bad on that, but the way I handle it is through mental capacity. So I always try to remember. And so I'm getting to this point where I'm having a lot of meetings where I can't remember every meeting. And I'm always like, I'm paranoid. Like, oh man, did I forget something? Like, oh shoot.
I'm getting there too. Well, I'm like there right now, but
yeah. But in terms of like things I need to get accomplished or finished, like, like the podcast, like, did I get it out by Sunday? Like, how am I, like, and if I'm not doing the podcast every day, or editing it on the day? Am I like making music, um and am I like creating some sort of content while I'm here, and like am I being too distracted, and like like, and I'm pretty self-aware to a point where I I basically like, I don't want to like say that I put myself in a depressive state, but basically I like beat on myself, where I'm just like, dude, like, come on, bro, like, stop, just stop and just like get to work. And like, when I take naps during the day, after like eating, because like I have digestive things that I deal with, so when I eat, if I eat too much, or if it doesn't agree with my stomach, I get into a very comatose like state where, like when you're sleeping, your body is healing. And so that's kind of like what happens to me. And so, but when that does happen, like you know there's some of it that I can't help, but the stuff that I can help, I'm just like, bro, like, we got to get better at this, like. And so like I do that. I keep myself in mental check every day, and it's just like, man, like, crap, like you're not doing that, like, put yourself to work. And like, there are definitely days where I just don't feel motivated to do it, and then at those moments I go and listen to like Motiversity, or Motivation Madness on YouTube and things like that. Yeah, man. So, and because the way that they frame it is like really nice, and that is also something that I'm working on too.
You're a really good self-motivator then, because it takes a lot. The way when you say it sounds easy, but it's not easy to like, come on, man, we gotta get back up. Like, you can't be sleepy, you can't be lazy. Like, a lot of that comes to you practicing that, because some people can just say, about 5 more minutes or an hour, I'll go back to do it. So it's like you have to allow yourself that talking to yourself is also healthy, and talking to yourself can also be the biggest change you need, is like the self-motivating. Because sometimes, because with my involvement in the community, both design and educating the community about like arts and stuff, I get so busy, and sometimes I get depression moments, and I'm like, how do I get out of this? And then most of the time I don't need to talk to somebody. I just need to talk to myself in the mirror, or like just sit down in a room and write down my thoughts, or just talk to myself. Because sometimes yourself is the best therapy, because you yourself understand yourself better. Because when I talk to somebody, I'm like, no, you're not getting it. They be like, why are you talking to me? It's like, I don't know. I just didn't voice myself. So then I was like, I just lock myself up. I talk to myself. I write it down. I give myself an hour, and I come out and I feel really good. So it takes a lot of mental health.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's because I went through a specific experience though. For me, well, it's a lot of experiences put together that really brought me to where I am. And the first one that really brought me to where I am is that, like, so the first time, my first year in college, I didn't go home for like winter break. And I had no classes. I didn't do J term. And all I did was basically play games. So, when I was that young, when I was that young, 19, 18, 19, I love playing like League of Legends and like World of Warcraft, right? And so, but when I was at home, I couldn't really play because like my parents would get on me about that. So I was just like, oh man, like, but finally I had a whole month and a half to myself. And I was living on dorms. And the thing about the dorms at Columbia, Chicago, is that you're living in an apartment. So I was living in a high rise. So, I could see the sunset above all the other buildings every night. And like, I could rise to the sun, and my windows were huge. Yeah, and shout out to them for Columbia always trying to keep it as low as possible. 20 in perspective, I know a lot of students going to Columbia right now are thinking like, like 20,000 a year is a lot for a private school, which is technically a lot for a lot of families that do go there. But in perspective of other private schools and colleges that offer that kind of material, it's like actually really cheap. And so tuition was only like an extra 10K. So I was there, and what I got was cabin fever because nobody was there besides me in my room. Like all my roommates left to go home, and they haven't come back yet. And I was basically in my room playing games every day, and then eating, and then. But when I got bored, I had nothing to do. Well, I could have done stuff, but I just didn't do stuff because I didn't want to do anything else. You know, because I wanted to like live stress free,
Right.
like quote unquote. And so that happened, and then I in my last year of college, all up until so my plan was like I'm gonna get really busy, get all these orgs, do all these classes in the summer, in J term, during the school year, while running the orgs and working, and which I was doing. And then my last year, I'm just gonna drop all of that and just focus on me. But what had happened was that I became super lazy, and that carried on to the year after I graduated. And I really didn't have a lot of motivation to like do my art that I said I was going to do. And like almost every day, I would be thinking like, man, like I could be doing better, and things like, I got a job and things like that, but it was just kind of like I didn't do what I set out to do. Like what is my word to me, and so like, and I was with my ex at the time, and she would bring it up too. She would just be like, hey, like, like what about your artwork and things like that. And but like for me, it wasn't really her that like made me despise myself. It was just me, because I was just like, man, I'm not doing the things that I said I was gonna be doing. Like what happened to the kid that like wanted to prove his parents wrong? What happened to that kid that like set out to be like, hey, like, where my parents didn't believe in me at the time? Like what happened to that kid that wanted to prove them wrong by becoming the most famous person on the earth, like in music, through music? And like what happened to that? What happened to all that drive? And so I just kind of like, it just kind of like sucked. And then when around the time I was coming back, I started listening to like motivational stuff, and I was like, yo, this stuff is like it's lit. Like it's super lit. Like like you have like the epic like orchestral music from like Inception and like all these like famous movie, John Williams, and things like that.
The music
and then,
makes it so much better.
yeah, you have that on top of like Will Smith talking, Gary Vaynerchuk, Brandon Bouchard, Tom Bilyeu, and Tony Robbins,
Love Tony Robbins.
yeah, and David Goggins and people like that, like talking like that. And it was just like, man, I feel I'm motivated, like, yo, I'm feeling it, so I started doing that. And then around that time I started buying things that like, okay, like what do I need to have an actual studio set up so where I can actually make music and stuff like that. And so I put myself on a regiment, just to be like, hey, trying to make a beat a week kind of a thing.
Okay.
I haven't stuck to that at all because I realize that I'm too picky to do that.
Yeah.
But so being in those situations where it sucked so bad to where I was just like so bored out of my mind that I realized that like what I loved doing in the past, like playing games and stuff and just like living life carelessly, it didn't bring me the fulfillment that I thought it would have.
Because that's not you.
Yeah.
And I know for sure that if you were to try doing that again, you can't, because you're used to the busy life. You're used to the task, and then you go back to that. Sorry, because I used to play a lot of games as a kid. I don't remember when it specifically stopped, but I know that one of my close friends, he loves gaming.
Yeah.
And some other acquaintances, they love like chilling, just hanging out and traveling. But for me, anytime I feel like I want to do that, if I do 1 hour playing game, I can't even last I last like maybe 12 minutes. And I'm like, oh, there's 2 more. I gotta do something else. I'll go read a book for like 10 minutes. Oh, there's 2 more. I gotta do something else. Like I'm always moving because I've been doing tasks like that for like 4 years of my life that I can't just settle down for like a good day doing nothing. I feel like I'm just wasting my life away.
Right. Yeah. I get that feeling too, but I don't get that feeling in that way. I get it in a way where So the most recent time that I actually did play games again was when my little brother, he had to go do something for my dad. He was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, play for me."
Yeah.
Because he plays League of Legends, and I play League of Legends. I used to play
Yeah.
a lot, so I went and played for him. I was like, I'm playing, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I'm playing. I was like, oh yeah, like I'll do this and this and this, because I watch gamers. I watch gamers just because like I don't know. I find more enjoyment watching people play the games versus actually playing the games. I don't know how that really happened, but like it just is now. And so like I'm playing the game because like, oh yeah, I keep myself updated. And then after that, I was like,
doesn't feel the same, huh?
yeah, actually I felt like I could like, oh wow, like I actually want to play some more games. But then I was like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling like I don't really have the need to play games anymore, because I think I know where it left me at those times where I was after playing games. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. So when I do get the urge to play games, I actually open it up. I was like, okay, I'm ready to play games now, y'all. I'm ready to play. And then I get there, I'm like, but do I really want to play?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And then I close it.
Yeah.
And then I go back to doing more stuff.
Yeah. So that's a moment where you just realizing either one, that's growth, or that like you have. It's just like, it's also going back to your priorities, or you're just, your mind's like you don't see it the same anymore. You're not grieving for it, or you're not craving for it.
Yeah. Even for the games that, so going back to how I keep myself updated, there's games that like I think are really cool coming out. And I hype myself up for like, so I love playing Warcraft 3, right? So Blizzard came out with Warcraft 3 Reforged, and when it was coming, before it was released, I was like hyping myself. I was like, yo, I'm gonna play this again, like it's gonna be lit. And then it came out, and I didn't even like buy it. And that was before all of the bad reviews came in and all that stuff. And same thing with like Wolcen. I haven't even bought Wolcen, but I looking at it, I was like, yo, I would have a lot of fun playing this game.
So it's funny because I love Monster Hunter. And I love playing on the Wii, and I love playing on the Xbox. No, I don't know if it's Xbox, but on the Wii. And on the Nintendo DS. I love playing it. Into the Monster Hunter, I think 3 or the latest one was coming out. And I was super hyped about it too. But when it came out, I was like, do I really want it? And then I was like, nah, I feel I'm not even gonna play as much anymore. And I'm glad I didn't, because it wasn't that good. It's the same as the last world I played. It's just that the graphics got better. And new weapons. And so I was like, yeah, I guess if I didn't get it, it was meant to be. Like, I'm not craving it. I just wanted it at that moment.
Yeah, man, that's exactly it. Cause like, to your point, I would have fun playing it, but like, how long would I have fun playing it?
Right. I think it only lasts me like maybe 2 days or a week. That's it.
Yeah, and then like there's nothing else like to really like wow you. Like I know that artists put a lot of work into the games. That's fine, and that's really, I respect that. But like, it's, for me, it's just like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, man, like, yeah. So that's how I keep myself motivated, and that's how I got here.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Dig it. You're a hardworking man.
Well, I try to be.
Yourself. Yeah.
I try to be. I think I'm working hard right now, but when I look back in the next 5 years, I'm gonna be like, yo, that wasn't working hard. Because I look back 5 years ago, and because I thought I was working hard 5 years ago, I was like, yo, you're not even working hard. You have moments where you're like sleeping for like, or like chilling for like 5 hours on end, like doing nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because I thought I was working hard because I served on board to my college year, and I was doing that. I was freelancing. I was doing projects. I was getting involved in the community, and I thought that was busy as heck for me. But now that I think back, I'm like, that was nothing, because now I feel like now I'm busier than ever, and I'm taking roles that would really affect me and that could really damage me in the community. So I feel really busy now, but like you said, I bet in 5 years I look back, I'm like, Bert, that was nothing.
For real.
So it's nice to reflect back.
So like right now, that's why I don't like to say that I'm busy at all. Just because like I know I'm gonna look back
it at the moment. I know you are. You appreciate the moments.
But for sure. And I always try to make time for anything. And that little piece of advice for anybody listening up until this point. I don't know how long it's been. But,
I don't know how long it's been too.
I think it's been a long time, but but for anybody listening up to this point, I think that if time management.
Yeah.
This is just a personal belief. Everybody has time. Even if people say that they're busy, you're not really. People who use the excuse, "Oh, I'm busy," aren't really that busy in my book.
I believe that too.
Because
yes.
like everybody got time. Like, I look back 5 years ago, I thought I was busy. I had time. And I had time to meet up with people, and I could make time to meet up with people. And it's when they say that they're busy, they're not really invested.
Right. They're just not interested, because I totally 100% agree with that. Like, no way you're way too busy, because I know when I was my busiest, I still made time. Like, this one time I was really busy at work, but the student wanted me to network and to review her portfolio. And then that day I was really busy, but I was like, but I can spare an hour. So I gave her an hour to review her work. So I was like, if it really means to you and you're not that busy, you can spend 5 minutes, 15 minutes, just an hour. Like, you can spend that you can do that.
Yeah, and especially for meetings, like, people sit an hour apart for meetings and stuff like that, but like, I mean, meetings don't have to be that long. Just like cut to the chase. Like, like, they're only that long because people are not prepared, because they didn't prioritize their time wisely before that meeting, or they're like saying a lot of fluff during the meeting and like saying a lot of things that don't really pertain to the meeting. And so like, if you're at a meeting, like, stick to the plan. Like, just be like, an hour meeting. Like, Gary Vaynerchuk says that, like, meetings that people say are an hour are actually just like 10 minutes tops.
The rest of them are gossip.
There's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things that happen in there that doesn't need to happen in a meeting. Like, like you can talk about that stuff outside of the meeting, but like when it comes to the meeting and the topic at hand, just like cut it, get to the chase, And so, that's just my advice to everybody out there. If you're offended, that's okay. That's just my personal belief. You have time. You need to prioritize your time to get to where you want to go in life.
I agree.
And you need to work hard to get there. And yes, there can be a lot of barriers to where you want to go, but if you keep making excuses, you're never going to get there, because you're subconsciously telling yourself that you can't get it. But that's not true. You can get it.
I agree.
Well, I think this is a pretty good place to stop.
Man. I feel like it was a really good talk. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. A lot of self-growth, motivation, passions.
Man.
How to interact with people.
Philosophy,
body language.
So where can we find you?
You can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And that's it. I encourage everybody to go on LinkedIn, because that is the next and upcoming social media platform for professionals, individuals who's trying to start a career in LinkedIn. I recommend it.
Yes, I need to get on that.
Yes, you do.
That and TikTok. TikTok is
Maybe
the other
TikTok.
TikTok is the other side of LinkedIn.
It is. It is. I don't know how I feel about it. I like it. I like to watch it, but I don't. I love the TikTok video. It's funny, but I probably wouldn't do it myself.
Well, like, like LinkedIn is for like business, and TikTok is like casual brand building as well. So that's how I see it.
I see TikTok more as for like memes and funny videos.
But you can build a brand in that too.
That's true.
So anyways, you can find me at TabooThao on almost every platform: Spotify, SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And yes, I'm still saying I am working on getting a TikTok. And yes, I actually do have a LinkedIn, but I don't post anything. I should be, though. I should be. I need to get more active on that for TabooTalks. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me, Daniel.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.